So today at Old Pals we're distilling. It's a stripping run for our yellow diamond bourbon. So while the still is heating up, I got about, let's say, 15 minutes tops before it starts dripping. But so I thought I was going to go through the still with you, give you a tutorial. What are all the pieces and components and stuff that you have in the still? So let's do it. So here at the bottom you have the boiler. Now there are a couple of different types of boilers. This one here is called a milk can boiler. It's very popular. It's basically not a milk can, but they're using the same template when they're building these stills. They're practical. The only downside is really that the mouth here can be a little bit tiny, especially if you're working with solids. Then you would like a wider mouth. This one here is heated with 2 elements. You can also heat it with gas. I prefer electric heating, although that is also a scorching risk if you're having solids in your mash or wash. But the good thing here about using 2, because I don't really need to have 2, I can just use 1 if I wanted to, but I can even out the heat. So I have one regulator here running at about half capacity. That's about 1,500 on that one, I think. And then this one here, same thing, 1,500. So I'm evening out the heat on these 2 elements. That way I'm not getting any, I'm minimizing the risk for any scorching problems. And I'm still getting the same heat capacity going out. So then above the boiler comes the still head, sometimes just called the still. And what we have here first is a diopter, a glass diopter, a sight glass, whatever you would like to call it. It's a 4-inch and it's really practical. I don't think I'm going to have foaming problems with my bourbon today, but if I'm doing something with wheat or barley malt, I tend to get a lot of foaming, and this is a perfect insurance to catch the foam before it pukes and comes all the way up here and down into your distillate, and that you don't want. And the way you stop it is just by turning down the heat again. That then the foam up subsides very quickly, but you have to be there. And you should always be here. Never leave your still unattended. That's a golden rule for all distillers. So on top of the diopter, I have a upside down copper onion. I turn it the other way around when I'm doing the spirit run. At one point I will show you that. But today I'm doing a stripping run, so I just want copper for the copper's fine effect on the alcohol vapors that are rising up here. I have a reducer from 4-inch to 2-inch, and then another copper spool. This one is 45 centimeters up to the elbow, which is also copper. And then we're down to the ascending path of the vapors, which is all stainless steel. And there's a reason for that. Stainless steel in the descending path, sorry, I meant descending path, guys. And then copper in your ascending path. Copper absorbs sulfides and other substances that you don't want to have in your end product. So it's really good to have it, but only on the rising side. Once it starts going down, copper can sometimes release stuff as well, and it goes into your drink, and that you don't want. So copper on the way up, stainless steel on the way down. At least that's my principle. As you can see, I have a thermometer here, and there's another one here. And the only reason why I have thermometers on my still is these components come with little holes where you have to either plug them with something or use a thermometer that comes when you purchase it. Thermometers is really a useless item on your still. If I want to know if my still is getting hot, I do like this, and it's cold to touch yet. I can tell if I touch down here, yes, it's getting warmer. So this is the only thing you need, especially for a stripping run, because the stripping run is just one quick run, as fast as your condenser can do it. You don't really need to know the temperature of anything in that still that you can't feel with your touch. When you're doing reflux runs, it can be sometimes helpful to have a thermometer, but otherwise, if you're pot stilling, yeah, pretty pointless. So the arm goes down. I have extra fittings here just to be able to reach down. I mean, you have to collect your alcohol in something, so I'm using additional piping here to get a little bit better position for my collection. Here's the condenser, maybe the most important thing in your still, to be honest, besides maybe the boiler itself. This is a shotgun condenser, so when the vapors come down here, they go into multiple pipes that go through here, and cold water comes in here, fills the jacket all the way up here, and then goes out this way. So cold water in the bottom, water out in the top. And when you do this, it cools down the vapors very efficiently. So with this 45 centimeter long condenser, I can run about 4,000 watts through those elements here and still be able to cool. And sometimes I run up to 5,000. It does well, but it's starting to get really hot then, and you have to really push cold water through the cooling pipes to be able to keep up. So, and very often this is the most limiting factor of your still. If your condenser isn't big enough, you can't run full pace on your still. You have to reduce and run slow. And stripping runs, the first run that you do should be fast. There's no reason for you to run slow. You don't take any cuts when you do the stripping run. You run it all the way down to when there's no liquor coming out or no alcohol coming out of the spout or thereabouts. I usually cut at 2%. That gives me usually low wines with 22 to 25%, which is perfect. Down here you have the spout, and as you can see, there's a little pipe sticking out here. Some people wonder what that is. That is a way for if you're running too hard and vapors don't have the time to cool down in the condenser, this is a way for them to escape, so that you don't get blocked. So it's a valve basically that can help if you are having some problems. Then of course you need receptacles, you need something to collect in. I collect in these. This is 4.5 liter. The other one is 5 liters. I'm expecting to get about 10 to 15 liters from this run, so I will be using both of those. You don't need a parrot. A parrot looks really cool, especially when they're done or made in copper. Beautiful things, but they're not so practical, to be honest. What you need is really a refractometer. I every liter or so, I take this drippy thingy here, take a drop from the receptacle, put it on the glass of the refractometer, go to the light, check out what's the ABV, and that's really all you need. I note all of these things down myself, but it's a good way, very practical. These things don't cost more than $10 on Ali or Amazon. So they are very cheap, and they do a very good job. And that's really all you need. I use hydrometers when I'm running the spirit run, because I'm running much slower then, and I want and these refractometers, they are not very good at above 70, then they lose kind of their accuracy. So if you're having higher spirits than 70, you need a hydrometer. and I don't do any kind of shaking. That's just silly. So that's the still. That's things I thought I was going to mention to you. That was a tutorial. Yeah, maybe could mention that you have to get rid of the stuff afterwards. The back set, once you're done with this, you need some way to get it out. And so having a little spout like this where you can release it is very good. But remember one thing, when you're making whiskey, you wanna save some of that back set as much as possible, because you should use it when you're fermenting your next batch. That gives there's a lot of nutrition in that, and it sets the acidity or the pH very good or correctly. So it's a good thing. Always use your back set. If you store it very quickly after the run, so when it's really piping hot, and then you tighten it, or how do you say, you cork it fast so that there's no air coming in, then the back set can really be stored for a very long time without turning into a bacteria flora. So that's it. Yeah, so the boiler, the still head with a diopter, an onion. Not necessary to have an onion, but it's nice when you're doing a spirit run. What you do want is copper, the condenser, a receptacle, and something to measure with. Okay, so have a good day, have a good Sunday.